I got my last full-time job at the age of 61.
What? Did I hear that correct?
Job at the age of 61.
Oh yes, I had that correct. I'm sure most of you're also wondering, how did she get that job? She's going to answer that. And the other question, I know some of you are also thinking at the back of the head, how old are you currently? I've been brought up well not to ask a lady what's her age, but I can assure you, in the course of our conversation, she does actually tell us her real age. And even at that age, she still have fun. She doesn't take life that seriously. Yeah? How did you manage to do that at age 61?
Well, like anybody does, you apply for a job. So I had heard about a particular job, and I applied for it. When I got the interview, I think I had like 5 interviews before they actually offered it to me. But just before they offered it, I decided I have to disclose my age. I told them, by the way, I'm 61, and they told me it's all right.
Another thing, this lady has been through a lot. According to her, 7 major life changes and transitions. She has been divorced. She has relocated in and out of the United States twice. She has been fired. She has lost a loved one. And I'm like, where do you get all the resilience, the courage to move on in life?
The first time you go through something very difficult, whether it's losing a job or divorce or any of the things that I've gone through, of course you kind of sit back and you really question yourself. I wouldn't say that I was resilient right away, because I'm human. You kind of collapse and think, oh my gosh. But I think what helped me was really, 1 is my faith in God, and 2 is my support group, my family, and 3, the fact that I'm a real believer in trying to fall forward, learn and fall forward. If I'm going to fall, I have to fall forward and keep on moving. And I very rarely will look back. I very rarely, there's some people who will say, well, why don't you just go back and beg them for your job, or, go back to your old boyfriend? I never go back. I try very hard to always move forward. And then what happens is you start to build a muscle. The more you go through things that, at the time seem like they're going to destroy you, and you find that you are able to, actually go past that challenge. That's when you realize how resilient you are. So it's really about failing forward and understanding that with every failure, although I don't really like the word failure, but with every challenge, there's a lesson to be learned, and from that, move forward.
We have already learned a ton from you. My bad. I actually haven't asked you to introduce yourself to my audience. So take this opportunity to tell us who you are and what do you do.
Okay, my name is Nancy Kairo. I am a transition coach, and transition means all the transitions that I've just mentioned. I've been through a divorce. I've been fired in my life. I've gained new jobs where I'm given a lot of responsibility. I've had to relocate 3 times, twice to the US, once to Germany. I've gone through all these kinds of transitions that for a lot of people are very difficult. I've lost a partner who passed away. I've, found myself being as a single mother. So these are all life transitions. Some of them are in your corporate space, your career, but also personal transitions. And because of the way that I've been able to navigate those transitions, I'm trying now to help others also navigate those transitions.
And you have also transitioned from the corporate sector into the
development arena.
Into the development arena.
The NGO world.
How did that happen?
So how it happened was I had lost, at the time, I felt it was really my dream job. Mm-hmm. I lost it because the company folded. So that wasn't even something, it wasn't my fault. The company just collapsed overnight. At the time, I was actually in the hospital with my daughter. She'd been admitted to the hospital for about 5 days. And I read in the newspaper, can you imagine? The company has collapsed.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, it was really, really crazy time. And at the same time, my marriage was on the rocks. So that collapsed soon afterwards. I found myself having to move to Mombasa for a new job. So that was another transition of relocation with my daughter. And then that job in Mombasa, it was in the tourism sector. The tourism sector collapsed. And again, I found myself out of a job because usually the last ones in a company are the first ones to go because the company doesn't want to have to pay you, a lot of money for staying in the company for a long time. So I was one of the first ones made redundant, had to move back to Nairobi, look for another job. I mean, all this happened within the space of like 3.5 years. So it was really, really a very difficult time for me. But then I found myself working with a media company here in Kenya. And I found, as I moved into this new job and getting used to everything and meeting all my new colleagues. And then one day I turned and I said, wait, where has that colleague gone? The other colleague has also gone. And I was told they've gone to do their master's degree. Some of them were going for PhD. And I thought, I'd never ever once thought about going back to school because I wasn't really academically inclined. In school, I didn't do very well. It was always a challenge for me. So I had never thought about it until that day. And I thought, this could maybe really help me move my, career trajectory to the next level. So I started thinking about going back to school. But even while I was thinking about that, the kind of work I was doing with the media organization was exposing me to the development world. And it just opened my eyes to a whole new way of looking at things. And I just felt like I was being called. So I finally went back to school to do my master's. After 2.5 years, I got my master's in economic development. And that was at the age of 44. And then I moved into that sector.
Having gone through all that, I'm just wondering, have you ever sat down and asked yourself, am I cursed or something? Or did someone go to the witch doctor to make sure that my life is not that smooth? Or something of that sort? Have you has that really slipped into your mind? Am I bewitched? Or is somebody doing this stuff on purpose? Or am I cursed? Or
No, I don't usually think like that.
Yeah.
Life is, life has cycles. Life has ups and downs. And I know that, generally, I am very blessed in so many things. I have an education. I have, I've always had good jobs. I have a wonderful family. So I don't really think about things like that.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you sometimes wonder, wow, what is this season? It just seems like one thing after the other, after the other, after the other.
Yeah.
And you find yourself almost like if you were in a swimming pool, you almost feel like you're drowning. And then you come up for air, then you drown a bit, then But yeah, I don't, I try not to think in terms of, am I cursed or things like that, yeah.
Now, as a transition coach, you're such a great coach. From your experience, what are some of the common hindrances and challenges that people face when they're trying to transition in their different phases of their lives?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for that compliment. I hope I am a phenomenal transition coach. I believe I am.
Of course you are.
I think one of the things that I find most common amongst my clients is limited self-belief. People feel like, well, this is what I studied, this is what I know, this is the only thing I can do. Or they feel like, well, I've never been very smart, those kind of jobs are only for the smart people. Or they feel like, because right now I have a particular client who feels that She has all this experience in a particular field, but she's not seeing how she could use that experience to transition into another field. And she really wants to transition. So I find that usually it's either about perspective, how they're looking at the world around them and themselves, or they're having a limited belief about who am I and what are my capabilities. What is it that I can do? And a lot of it goes back to having what I call between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. If you have a growth mindset at any age, as long as your faculties are intact, you can actually think and reason, you can move easily. Actually, movement is you're not barred. There are many people who are in wheelchairs or, they can't move that easily. But as long as your faculties, your mental faculties are intact, you can learn anything. So even today, at the age of 66, which I am now, I'm learning so many new things. And it doesn't scare me because I feel that I am able to learn. And as long as I'm able to learn, then I'm able to apply. And I think a lot of people feel that they're not able to expand, not able to grow, because they have this limiting belief about themselves. The other thing is fear. A lot of people are very fearful, just in general, about change, about pivoting. For me, I think I've been lucky in the sense that I've never really feared change. And we're told, change is the one thing that is constant in your life. Things are always changing. Today with AI and all kinds of things, climate change, we have to change. So I think that's also another mindset thing. If you feel like you're stuck and I have to be this way the rest of my life, then it's very hard to progress.
I must say I've been selling this video way before even we have recorded it.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
In the sense that I've had, let's say, two different people we have talked. Maybe someone is at 30 and they're feeling, now I'm getting into my 30s, probably my productivity is going to go down. So I say, I'm 40 years old, I think my work is done. I don't think I can be able to pivot. What kind of advice would you give to someone who feels like the age is actually the hindrance to their progress?
Again, that's a limiting belief. But what I say, the first thing I tell anybody is, you're never done until you're in the grave. Never. Nothing. Every day that you can wake up and breathe and move and think is a day that you could possibly change your life. So personally, I feel like, until I'm in the grave, I'm going to still be working. I don't believe in the typical sense or phrase people use about retiring. I'm going to retire, go to the farm to take care of the chicken and the cows, and I just don't think like that. I can't even imagine myself doing that unless I guess I was forced to. But that's because I want to stay relevant. I want to stay vibrant. I want to stay really a part of what's going on in society. So like now, I'm trying to teach myself things about AI and how to use it for humanity's good.
That has been quite a moving story, and I'm sure most of my audience right here, they would want to get in touch with you. They would want you to help them in the transitions that they're going through, maybe family, career, whatever area it is, relationships and all that. What is the quickest way for them to get in touch with you, or what would be the best way for them to just reach out to you?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is through email. They can write to me at hello@nancykairo.com. They can also go to my website, nancykairo.com, and when they get to the website, they'll see some free resources. So that's probably the best way.
Parting shot.
We're living in a time of a phenomenal time of real big leaps and changes in technology, in everything, in every field, there's something happening. And I think it's important for us to be ready to reinvent ourselves, as things happen, as changes happen, you have to be willing to say, all right, this could be an opportunity for me, and how can I reinvent myself to be able to really leverage and get a benefit out of those changes.
Thank you. It has been great having you around.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking through this interview. It has been great. I want to know from you, what is one of the key takeaways that you have gotten just from our conversation with our special guest, Nancy Kairo? Drop that in the comments. Yeah, make sure you just drop that in the comment. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until my next video, out.